Listen.
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Can't get enough baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to weigh mine for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
There is absolutely no human being on the planet I'd rather be talking to more than Torey Lovullo right now.
I think you say that to everybody.
Well, I do, but
yeah.
But I mean it. First of all, I mean it every time.
Yeah.
And second of all, in your case,
yeah,
you know. If you know, you know.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, and I think one of your strengths is when you're talking to somebody, you always make it about the other person. So I feel your love right now.
Wow, that's a great compliment.
It is, because
I said then this is the perfect combination, because I've said that about you multiple times.
I appreciate that.
And I had, this is going to make you feel good because I'm here to build up, is that I tell people that about you. I said that you listen, you learn ever since you wanted to know how a radio station works.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And then Cape Cod League manager, who I apologize, but he's like, you know who's really good at that? Torey Lovullo. I'm like, yeah, I know, right?
There you go.
So how did you? I've never asked you this.
Yeah.
How did you come about that curiosity?
Oh man, I definitely feel like I grew up a big fan of Curious George, right? So you remember the monkey in the yellow hat,
yes,
and, that type of stuff. So I just felt like I was on a quest to learn and just figure things out. And I'd ask questions, and almost to the point where people around me when I was a young kid would be like, "Oh my God, would you just be quiet? I can't answer another question." And I always asked why. That was always like, well, why is this happening? Why did that? Why is this taking place? But I probably saw it from my mom, who was a great listener. I could unload and dump on my mom, and she would just sit there with both of her eyes on me, giving me unbelievable attention, and I felt a safe place with my mom. And then I probably learned the art of communication from my dad. My dad was an elite communicator. He always would sit down and make you feel very comfortable in the space that you were in.
He negotiated hee-haw contracts. That's why.
Yeah,
right?
I saw him had some nasty, really tough, bad conversations, but that was probably 10% of the time. He had that in him. But on the other side of it, he was just an unbelievable communicator that would lift people up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you were coming up, we've talked a lot about how things have changed for rookies.
Yeah.
So after you get the call when Lou Whitaker blows out his knee at Studio 54, after you get the call, are you in the corner afraid to ask questions?
Very much so.
Are you?
Very much so. So yeah, the game's changed in that way. And I'll tell you what, that's why I try to create an environment here that 1 through 26, everybody has the same voice, and that's where the game has changed. So I remember going to Yankee Stadium, old Yankee Stadium, got called up. I was basically put in the locker that nobody used, and I just hid. I basically hid there and didn't come out of my locker until somebody.
And you probably had a ton of questions you wanted to ask.
Yeah,
right?
I wanted to see how the operation ran. I watched Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell, unbelievable players perform. I wanted to go in and just tap into what they were doing and why they were so successful. But I was 23 years old. There was no way I was going to go up to them and ask them questions. But today, they do that. I think our players are conditioned to be able to go ask Corbin Carroll as a young rookie, how were your first couple of years? And Corbin's going to be there to explain everything he possibly can to him.
Let's go back to when I first started noticing, again, it's not hyperbole. You would come and do radio heads and you would be asking a million different questions.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn this around from a media perspective. What was the thing when you started asking questions? And this is, I think that one of the things was when you got a chance to manage, not necessarily in minor league, maybe in minor league, but you sort of understood where the media was coming from because you asked the questions.
Yeah, the Boston market is unlike anything else. So I just knew that you were taking the time to kind of put me in a situation where I was going to learn and grow, and I wasn't going to miss that opportunity, right? I'd put the headphones on, I'd be like, what's this button do? What does this do? Who are you guys talking to? What's happening? I just wanted to understand how the puzzle worked, and that's innately who I am. I just want to know how things line up and how they work. But at the end of the day, I knew my time with you was valuable because I was getting to know the person, the human being, and spending time with you. And I like the energy that you had. I like the way that you.
Wow,
I like the way that was. And I'm not the only person that would say that, right? I don't think a lot of people love you, right? So I was feeling like this is just a different vibe. And you were different than other media people that I was meeting, and I felt like there was some positive I want to draw from that.
We're all human beings, my friend.
Well, at the end of the day, that's really what it is. Like I would start to ask you questions, and you would tell me about coaching your daughter's basketball team, and you had to run from A to B quickly, and you were late coming in. I thought that was interesting because all I thought of you was a writer and a voice, but you were a human being as well.
Do you think that that's lost? And thank you for all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it made my trip across the country all worthwhile. But do you think that's lost, like the human being? Like sometimes we forget that, especially like it's a grind of a season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And whether it's with the players, all these players are coming from a million different places in their lives.
Yeah.
The media is, maybe they're petrified to ask questions. Maybe do we forget that we're all?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I have the same exact feelings as that person sitting in the front row right there. I think the same things most of the time. I view, observe, and have the same, day-to-day content from an observation. Like I am no different than anybody else that's sitting in the stadium right now, and there's probably 15,000 people here.
Yeah.
So I want to create an awareness to that. Like, and sometimes things are amplified in a positive way, and sometimes things are amplified in a negative way. So I want people to be aware, like I'm not immune to feeling a certain way, and you're the same way. And I come from a place probably of empathy. That's really what it comes down to. I want to align with people, understand that things hurt, things feel great, and at the end of the day, we have a job to do, and that's to go out there and be the best we can be.
How many years have you been managing here?
9.
9.
In my 9th year.
Almost got your 10 year. Let's go.
Let's get full 10 years.
I don't
Right?
know
It's a long time.
I mean, what did you get? You got 10 years in the major, like.
Correct. I had 4 as a player. I had several with the Red Sox.
Did you celebrate your 10th year anywhere? Or?
No. I remember. I think I hit it. So I had 3 years with the Red Sox, 4 as a player. So I think I hit it like sometime right before COVID. And I told my wife, like, I think I'm fully vested now. She's like, great, congratulations. Let's have dinner.
Oh, there you go.
It was no big deal there.
Oh man, all right.
All
right. So the reason I ask is that 9 years. How has it changed? You talked a little bit about rookies, right?
Yeah.
But how has managing changed, do you feel like? Because I think that one of the good things is that you're also, because of all the things we talked about, you've been able to adjust and evolve. And honestly, Torey, like the stuff that I maybe have quote unquote taught you in the media, forget it, throw it out the window, because that's all changed. Like nothing is the same anymore.
Yeah.
But from the manager's point of view, how is some of the things that have changed?
Well, I think the big thing is this word everybody likes to either amplify in a very positive way, or they like to basically crucify it, is the analytics, right? There are numbers behind the numbers. And I have a lot of information that I can refer to, and it's like Googling, right? I can justify any decision I want based on a piece of information that I have, but I rely on that, when I need to. But instinctually, I'm going to follow the game. I'm going to follow my instincts. I'm going to follow what my gut's telling me, and at times I'll use the analytics in a way that I can blend. So there's a blending of analytics with actually what's happening in front of us that takes place today that I don't think took place 10 years ago. When I was with the Red Sox, I know that there was a system in place that it's now 10 years old. It's really evolved now. People can hit a button and play a baseball game 40,000 times based on the TrackMan and all the analysis, all the things that are built in around a stadium, and say that this will be the type of outcome. But that always doesn't happen. There's a human element, there's a heart, there's a mind, and there's a spirit that will add to that.
All right, you're exactly right. And by the way, all I could think of is like you going into the office after the game and saying to AI, hey, did I manage a good game today?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not the right answer.
Yeah.
Either way. But you mentioned well, you didn't mention it, but you talk about, you went through the postseason run.
Yeah.
But this is a whole nother thing because people are paying more attention.
Yeah.
And also there's a lot of elements where you have the analytics, but you're at a point in the season where guys have gone through a whole season.
Yeah.
So it's not just like you're doing turnkey stuff anymore. What advice would you give to a manager going through the postseason run like you did?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I could say is when somebody's hot, you run with it, and when somebody is hot that's going against you, you got to back away from it. I go back to the 2013 World Series with David Ortiz, right? Big Papi was hot, and Mike Matheny insisted on pitching to him, and David just kept answering the bell. So, get out of the way of runs, embrace the runs when you can, and they're on your side. And I think successful postseason teams are able to stop momentum or create momentum, pitch by pitch, inning by inning.
Really? Give me an example from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think making a pitching change that's uncharacteristic early in the game is going to stop a momentum run in the fourth inning, whereas I would let Zach Gallen run until the seventh inning before I make that decision. But you got to be able to stop something in the fourth or fifth inning that is totally out of the box and uncharacteristic. And it's like changing the dealers in Las Vegas. You got to flip the deck every once in a while, bring somebody fresh out of the bullpen, change that up, stop that run.
Is there also an element of like when you get that you don't know how even a good player is going to react on the big stage?
A little bit, yeah. You start to uncover a little bit of personalities, and that's hard to evaluate when you're in a regular season. The heartbeat's at a certain level.
Yeah.
I think the best players don't change. The best players just elevate their game by being situationally aware, being acutely aware of what their strengths are, and then take it to the next level by being the best version of themselves.
When you look at a guy like Gallen that we had just talked to Zach, you got to get him a shoe deal. Did you have a shoe deal?
As a player, I had a shoe deal. I was Reebok.
Yeah.
But I had a shoe deal as a coach when I was in Boston. And I remember the rep came to me when I got brought over here.
Yeah.
I said, "Do I get the same shoe deal?" He said, "Sorry, Torey, deal's over. You're not in Boston anymore."
Oh,
yeah.
Are the initials NB?
No, they're not.
Really?
No, they're not.
Oh, wow.
You would think it would be NB because of the connection.
Right,
to Boston,
right.
But it might just be N. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So I still wear them. I still love them.
Yeah.
But they just provide me with shoes, but at a cost.
But what I was saying, I can't believe they don't give out deals. So you've gotten more shoe deals than Zach Gallen.
Well, Zach is waiting for one shoe deal.
No, I know, and that's why I wear these hats.
He's waiting.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It's a very famous athlete from Chicago.
By the way, I do want to ask, because I said to him, would you get a baseball important tattoo if you won the World Series? Did I ask you that before?
You did, and I said no, I'm out on that.
All right, fair enough. I just get that out of the way. He said maybe, but he said he would definitely get a Jumpman tattoo if it got him a shoe deal.
Oh, well. I mean, that's taking things to a whole new level.
But that's
about dedication.
That's what we have to do for shoe deals now. Anyway. But my point was, I talked to Zach. I mean, he pitched. This is an awful segment.
I love it. I love this.
Yeah, and so hold on. I want to be respectful of your time.
We're good.
All right.
I probably have another 7 minutes.
Okay. So I talked to him about pitching 240 something innings.
Yeah.
Right. And he's actually come out of it pretty well. Yeah. You know, which is. But as you're going, so it's a good conversation to have this time of year, because as his manager, when does that get on your radar? Are you starting to think, and you guys made the postseason pretty late, but you needed him to pitch. As a manager, are you like, oh man, we're getting to levels where 240s?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of innings. Which blows me away, right? There were times where, way back in the old days, guys were throwing 300 innings and not even.
Yeah, but those days. Well, last year, you know that the pitcher in the World Series, who pitched in the World Series, Yankees, Dodgers, who had pitched the most innings was Carlos Rodon. It wasn't even 190 innings.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The game's changed a little bit.
Right,
for sure.
right. So that's why I'm like, because we saw a guy like, no disrespect to Sean Manaea, but he hit 200 and he fell off a cliff at 200. Yeah. So it's a challenge. What I'm saying is, as a manager, that's a tricky thing, right?
Yeah. So we got to monitor that. We pay attention to that. At the time, I remember we were telling Zach, like, hey, that workload's climbing, and we can't really do much about it because we need every one of your innings. And because of what he did, we got to the postseason. But when we looked up, it was 240. Zach's as good at being aware of himself and his body as anybody I know. So I don't think Zach took a day off after the World Series. I know that he was at Salt River Field, our facility right up the street here where we have spring training, immediately after the season. So he kept it going year round. He let his body recover. And there was a strategy to how we did that. You know, we had Merrill Kelly, who threw a lot of innings that year too. He pitched in the WBC. I think he logged 200 innings as well. But we needed those boys to go, and they did, and they responded. And they haven't taken a step backward. You know, I know Zach isn't having a Zach type of a year this year, but that was no connection to the 240. I think you just got to be smart. What I talked to both of those guys about going into the 24 season is when we have a 6-0 lead after 5 innings and look like we're cruising, I'm going to take you out of the game at 82 pitches. It's not nothing you like, because they're hunting quality starts every single start. It's nothing you like, but if I can carve 2 innings off of that, and that 240 now becomes 218, 216 because we were smart throughout the course of the year, I'm going to do it.
I remember, I think after 13, I think you guys tried to draw guys back in spring training the next year. And listen, everyone's trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
But almost talking to Zach, it was like, getting out of it's tricky, right? Because baseball players don't get out of routines, and I think you got off to a bad start.
Yeah.
The pitchers did, right? You're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's something that's evolving, and nobody has a perfect recipe.
Yeah.
And I do remember that. I mean, John Lester was gassed at the end of the 13th season, and we had to be situationally aware to give him that time off. And we slow played it, and to start the season, I think he was able to give us 5+ innings rather than the typical John Lester 7-inning start on opening day or whatever his first start was. So it definitely hurt us that year. I remember in 14.
By the way, so this is you were complimenting me. I appreciate that. I'm going to compliment you. This is again. So when I'm going through my 50s, right? This isn't a lie, by the way. But I'm going through my 50s. I remember you look much better than I am, but you're 5 years older than I, 4 years older than me. But I remember you getting in the 50s. I'm like, all right, you look pretty good for 50. I remember when you turned 50. I remember that day. You did radio like that day. And like you remember, and I'm thinking, okay, I can do that. I can handle, like, he's spry, he's energetic. And then I get to 55, I'm like, okay, you can do that. And so now you're 60, and like I'm like, and I just turned 56. I'm like, okay,
you can
like
do 60.
I can do you're not decrepit. Like it can be done. I honestly think, like, no lie, that's the best compliment I can give you. You're a spry 16-year-old.
I love it. You're looking at me as your inspiration. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And at the end of the day, right, 60 is a big number. When I was a kid and somebody said he's 60, I'm like, that guy's really old.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I feel like I'm 40. I know,
my body, but you act mind, it. That's my point.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I've got kids in their late 20s, early 30s. I'm running around 20-year-olds, so they keep me young. My mind still feels like it's young when my body still feels like it's 40.
Whenever I do the thing about, hey, look at the Final Four for managers for the last, like, they're all older. Like, look, they're all experienced, which this is a truth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Bruce Bochy and you know, whoever it is. I'm like, oh yeah, Torey Lovullo, and I say it because, like, you're not in your upper 30s, but it hurts saying this because, like, I'm not like anyway. You're
okay.
spry.
I'm an old man.
No,
but I act spry.
You act spry.
Yes. I appreciate that.
Do you have any questions for me?
Did you run in the Boston Marathon this year?
No, 2019 was the last time.
Will you ever run in another Boston Marathon?
I would like to do one more with my daughter.
How old is she now?
She's 28.
Okay, and does she love to run?
Yeah, knee problems. But, you know, it's like one thing. We could power through.
Okay, power through is a good thing. I agree. But you could always walk it if you need to.
I've done a little bit of walking. I mean, when you saw me, it was right on the cusp of walking. Which, by the way, I would tell my Boston Marathon, not that Boston Marathon story, but my how I ran the marathon with Jeff Bezos' wife. But the last time I did that, you like literally like were like name drop. So I won't do that. That's for another podcast. I always appreciate the time. Thank you.
Likewise.